The advisory board for the Nigeria Prize for Literature on Tuesday announced the finalists for the 2023 edition of the prize. The shortlisted plays in alphabetical order of their titles are Grit by Ojuelegba, The Ojuelegba Crossroads by Abideen Ojuelegba, and Yam Tarawala, The Warrior King by Henry Akubuiro. The Nigeria Prize for Literature is sponsored by Nigeria LNNG Limited and NLNG and carries a cash award of $100,000. A total of 143 plays were entered for the competition, which focuses on drama. Joining us now to share their views ahead of the announcement of this year's winner in the drama genre are the three shortlisted finalists for the Nigeria Prize for Literature: Ojuelegba, Abideen Ojomu, and Henry Akubuiro. Good morning, welcome to the morning show, and congratulations.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us here.
Gentlemen, congratulations. For the three of you to have been shortlisted, that in itself is an achievement. Whoever wins at the end of the day. And I speak as someone who served for 2 terms as a judge of the Nigerian LNG prizes. And congratulations to Nigerian LNG, for having sustained this. And some of the foundations, some of the issues that we established as a pioneer panel of judges, I see some of those standards have quickly gone through your scripts, but it's good that literature is being promoted, poetry, fiction, literary criticism, which they added to it after my, my team left. And to see that they've even increased the prize money. So Nigeria LNG is doing very well, helping us to promote literature. But very quickly, beyond all of that, I would just like you one after the other to talk about your script. And it's good to see Ojuelegba, Great, published by my good friend Ojuelegba. I didn't know that he has added publisher to his title. So we just go, Ojuelegba, you start. Henry, journalist, writer, everything. It's good to see you again. And then Ojomu, if you are joining us, we would also like you to talk briefly about your script. Let's start with you, Ojuelegba.
Yeah. Is there a specific question you want me to respond to? Or?
No, just to talk about your book. Tell us about it.
All right. So,
I have not read any of the 3 books, so just tell us about it.
Okay, so I set out to write a play about the family and about politics. I wanted to get the private and the public space, and then depict the constant abrasion between family interests and political interests in the public space. So we have a family in this play. A family is at the center of it, and 2 brothers cannot decide on how to participate in the political process. But while they were at their conflict, what they didn't know was that there were other political actors in their community who were interested in that conflict, and they were actually orchestrating it. And so at the end of it, the brothers walk into the trap, and they suffer for it. And then the community ultimately suffers for the very toxic politics that is depicted in that play. So in a nutshell, that's what it's about.
Harry?
Yeah. I wanted to revalidate history in literature, taking into cognizance untold stories in northeastern part of Nigeria. So I entitled my play, Yam Tarawala, The Warrior King. It's basically a play that revisits 16th century Kanem Borno Empire history, which hasn't been dramatized and fictionalized in Nigerian literature. So I tried to interrogate the power play in the northeastern politics. How Yam Tarawala, who was Abdullahi, he was a prince in Kanem Borno Empire in the 16th century. So there was implosion in Kanem Borno Empire, leading Yam Tarawala to move away from Kanem Borno to found his own empire. So I tried to bring together everything, the culture, the people, the traditional motifs, indigenous theater. I married everything together to create this play because I felt that there's a vacuum. The historical plays, fiction or poetry we have in Nigeria are basically our encounter the encounter our forefathers had with the colonial masters, and then we also had the writers intervening in Nigerian Civil War. So I went back in time to 16th century when there was no British, when there was basically blacks, and also Africans having an affair with the Arabs. So I depicted these dynamics in Yantarawa, the Warrior King.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Abideen Ojomu, if you could just talk to us briefly about your book.
Thank you very much. See, the Ojuelegba Crossroads is an historical drama, and it tries to engage all of the narrative about African history, right from the time the British invaded the Benin Empire, leading to the situation whereby Ojuelegba, when the good king was actually, his kingdom was destroyed. It kind of came down after that to look at the Civil War, the implication of the Civil War, and the impact of the Civil War at the current state of the Nigerian polity. And it also tried to look at the lessons we can take from all of the things that have happened in the past. It's a book that tries to project the benefit of learning from the past and trying to take learning that we can use to develop our nation to make us one of the most important nations in the world. It talks about the opportunity to leverage all of the skills we have in terms of the human skills, the natural resources, and the power of our youth to be able to partake in global politics. And it also talks about the need for, it projects itself beyond Nigeria, because we Nigerians are actually 10% of Black people living in the world. It kind of represents us as the point whereby every Black person on the world can actually rally around and try to see what Black people can do for themselves in terms of being great. The current global program paradigm actually presents Black people at the bottom of the pyramid. We are, based on global narrative, the least desirable people in the world. You know, we get to see more of that when we travel out of our country and we try to partake in narratives. We see that we have the least relevance, which was not so, because we are one of the most important people in the world in terms of our contribution to global policy, global development. And we think we shall actually raise our game and become one of the most important races in the world.
Thank you, Joe. All right. Yeah, I think this is exciting for me personally. As a dramaturgist, there were years as a judge of the Nigeria LNG prizes for literature that we couldn't award any prize for drama because, you know, we just didn't get good scripts. But it's good to see this resurgence, you know, in terms of creativity in drama.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, kudos to the NLNG for sustaining this prize for 19 years. And with $100,000 prize money, it's said to be the richest, one of the richest and most prestigious literary prizes in the world. So I'd like to ask three of you, what does it mean? What does this shortlisting, and if you ultimately emerge as the winner for this year's prize for literature, there can only be one winner, what would it mean for you, and what would just even get into the top out of over 140 people who enter the competition, being shortlisted out of them, what does it mean to you, and how do you think it will impact on your literary journey? I'll start with you, Dr. Gomba.
Yeah, okay, so writers, those serious writers write entirely for awards, but there's some kind of validation. But there's some kind of validation that comes from entering your book into the competition, and the jury evaluates it and finds that there's artistic merit in the work. So I feel excited that I've come this far. I've made a list of 11 on 4 previous occasions, and this is the first time I'm making a list of 3. So you see, that's an improvement in my story with the Nigerian Prize for Literature. As to what the money means, I think it's a bit premature to talk about what we will do with that money until we win it. However, I have kept emphasizing that if I do win the prize, I'll have to set aside a portion of that money for the promotion of the work that has won the prize, so that we can take the work beyond Nigeria and give it global visibility. That much is what I can say for now.
Sounds like a good plan. Mr. Akubuiro, $100,000. And of course, beyond the award, the significance of this for you as an artist?
Yeah, Nigeria is the powerhouse of African literature, right from the Achebe days to the Chimamanda days. So to make the shortlist entry for the Nigerian Prize for Literature is a big deal. It's a validation of my writing, because we have so many talented writers in Nigeria, and many of them don't get to the long list or even the short list. So to be selected among the three is a big feat for me. Talking about the prize, the $100,000 prize, I don't like counting my chickens before they are hatched. But definitely, if the prize comes my way, I have plans in place. First of all, I want to bring drama back to the stage, because drama has disappeared from the stage recently. Although the efforts are being made by some individuals and bodies to bring the theater back, drama back to the stage. So I'm thinking of taking the play to Department of English in Nigeria, Department of Theatre Arts, and also outside the country, because people from Ghana, from Sierra Leone, from Liberia, from Kenya, from South Africa, they are showing interest in this play and also Nigerian Prize for Literature. So I intend to popularize it. And also take it to the Northeast, where people have been suffering for years. It's their story, though it has a national relevance. They have to take it back to the Northeast to show them their history. It's forgotten history.
Really good to hear. Thank you very much. I mean, with the new sworn-in Minister for Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, this is an era that we can certainly tap into in terms of improving and having more drama on stage. Finally, to you, Mr. for this question, Mr. Ojomu, the chemical engineer turned writer, now shortlisted. Interesting story. What does this mean to you?
That's very, very interesting, actually. And to actually quickly underscore what you said, one of the greatest writers of all time, Fyodor Dostoevsky, is also an engineer, and he became one of the most important writers in the history of this world. So I think one of the most important things about art and perhaps drama is that it creates an opportunity for people to engage in literature in a way that actually entertains them. You know, art can actually change people's perception about reality, and drama is a beautiful genre for actually allowing people to actually participate in art. So I think coming this far is a very important thing, because your idea of Ojuelegba is social consciousness, trying to look at the past to draw an inference for the future. And by the time I win this, I really hope I do. So the interesting thing is that I'm thinking of an initiative whereby artists and writers can actually be not just script writers who document history, who create beautiful narrative for people to engage with, but people who partake in political and economic development. Because art has actually been relevant in the development of country. When we talk about the development in India, a lot of artists came together to actually partake in nation building. They were able to use their narrative to engage with the people, to engage with the government, so that beautiful policies that actually focus on the development of the country will come to light. I think I'm thinking of coming up with an initiative whereby we artists can actually provide relevant information for nation building to our country, because like we artists are actually beautiful people. We can engage with the past, we can engage with the present, and we can look into the future. So when we put these 3 time dimensions in place, we can actually advise our decision maker, the politician, about what they need to do to be able to move our country from where it is to where we expect it to be. And that is by far the most important thing for me. That is by far the most important thing for any artist that live out of Nigeria, because the way we are perceived is not truly what we are. We are one of the smartest people in the world, and we need to be able to use art to project that aspect of us that people are not aware of. People have a very erroneous impression about us. I'm going to come up with an initiative that actually projects Africans, Black people, the world over in the right perspective they should be seen. I think that's far more important to me than any other thing.
Okay, and as we wrap up, what if you don't win? What happens?
You want me to take a shot at that?
All of you will take a shot at that.
Oh yeah, I keep writing. I mean, that's what has to happen, okay? My job is to write, okay?
Yeah.
Whether there's a reward system in place or not, I keep writing. I mean, if I've competed 5 times for this prize, then you can tell that I have the capacity to keep writing.
Yeah.
So, and I think that this is information for the general creative community. Let one prize administration or one jury statement not become a setback to our creativity. Particularly for the young people there, it's not about winning the prize all the time. It's about creating literature that has the aesthetics that can endure through time. Okay. And that's principally what I'll keep doing.
What if you don't win?
Yeah, I've been involved in promotion of literature for more than 15 years in Nigeria, so definitely.
Give some credit to the Sun newspaper.
I've kept the momentum for many years.
Editor at the Sun.
So I've been editing editorial review. So win or lose, life goes on. I will keep on promoting Nigerian literature.
And creating literature.
And creating literature too.
Yeah.
So what if you don't win as we wrap up?
Ojomu. I think the interesting thing is that we all should actually realize that we have won. We have won in that being the top 3 out of 143 is actually a very big thing. It means that we are one of the most important creative writers in Nigeria at this moment, and it's something we can develop on. The prize money is just icing on the cake. And I want all of us to believe that we have won. I want all of us to come together to see what more we can do, the 3 of us, and perhaps any other writer that's interested in joining us. We can come together and start creating documents and initiatives we can use to move our country forward. The money itself is icing on the cake. The fact that we are perhaps the greatest writers in Nigeria at this moment is a very important thing that we can use to create new value. So the money, icing on the cake, the fact that we are here is the greatest winning we can actually have.
Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, so much progress has been made with the Energy Prize for Literature. One of the things we established at the beginning, was that the production, the presentation, is as important as the content. Exactly. And the 2 copies that I've seen here, you guys, you've done some good work with the presentation, because we thought it's not enough to just write a play or a poem or a novel. You must present it well.
Quality.
And then, of course, we found that bad English. I've not read your books. when I read them, I'll be able to determine, even as a retired judge of the prizes. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.